Hola, YouTube. It's Akili Worthy here with another episode of The Shit Show. You know what? I need to get a theme song rolling for that. Okay, that's going to be my next order of business. So, remember, SHIT is an acronym for the true nature of a woman, which is that is spirit-filled. That's the S. Healing. That's the H. Intuitive, that's the I. And transformational, that's the T. And we all know that that's really what women do. We change the world. Now, it's always a wonderful thing if we are doing it in a positive way. But I know, as a certified life purpose coach and an author and a trainer and a woman, that there's many times where we're not always using our fabulous powers for good, and that's because we're very much impacted by our environments and people around us. And so I've created this series to really talk about some of the different things that we can do to get our shit together. I'm in the process of getting my shit together. You know, I'm a working wife, mother, entrepreneur. So I'm in the, I guess I'm in a transitional stage in my life right now. I'm almost 40, and trying to get things really into perspective, making sure I'm doing the things that I'm purposed to do. At this point in life, I know that I am really excited about being able to help women get to the next stage in their life. I've been able to conquer a lot of things and take my own life to some new levels. And so the only thing I feel like I'm required to do at this point is teach and continue to be a student of life. Very spiritual person, not a big religious person, but absolutely love and adore God and the wonderful things that the force of God has equipped us to do, and you know, give ultimate thanks and lots of gratitude to the Spirit for putting me in this place at this time. So I've been talking for the past 2 episodes about forgiveness. And one of the first things I said that we needed to do when we are looking at forgiveness is to be in a place where we realize that a person made a mistake, right? We make mistakes all the time. And I think it's so amazing how we focus so much on the things that other people do, but rarely do we look at our own mistakes, you know? So it took me a long time to figure out this concept, and it's definitely been something that I think that holds women hostage. It's something that has held me hostage for many years. I was holding on to the concept that I needed to be right. And kept trying to figure out over and over again, yeah, this forgiveness thing sounds great in theory, but how do I do it? And if I forgive a person, doesn't that really mean I'm condoning their behavior? I'm saying what they did is okay. I'm, in fact, opening and welcoming more of the same. And those things are simply not true. That is sometimes our perception of the situation, but that perception is flawed, okay? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And just because you forgive someone doesn't mean that you're not still aware of the things that they have the potential to do, especially if they're not in a place where they're healing, or they're not in a place where they're trying to make the changes to, you know, move down their own purposeful path. You know, everybody's on different paths at different times. So, so again, the first thing I said we need to do is figure out, just figure out in our minds, or wrap our minds around the fact that that person made a mistake. Okay, a mistake. And the mistake could have had a lot of damage associated with it, but it was still a mistake nonetheless. You know, some people say, well, what if the person meant to do it? I think that a lot of us in our lives right now are being very reactive. We're dealing with people from a pain standpoint, and that means that if I've been in a painful situation, it's not unlikely that I'm going to do some things that also create pain for other people. So even when those people have done things purposefully, if there are things that have been done to hurt other people, I do believe that they will reap what they sow. But I also believe that they have made a mistake. Could be a mistake in judgment, could be a mistake in perception, whatever the situation is. If they're not doing something out of love, they're not acting out of love, then they're acting out of fear. And fear is always a false situation. There's always a lie behind it in some shape, form, or fashion. And they may not have understood the truth before they made the decision that they made. The second thing I said to do was really ask yourself why 5 times. There's the 5 why process. And again, it's a problem-solving technique to where you look at what the actual problem is. So what is the problem associated with the forgiveness? I used my mother as an example and said, okay, my mother allowed some things to happen on her watch. And then my first layer of why is, okay, well, why was that a problem? Well, it created some areas for me where I was extremely insecure and didn't understand my worth and my value. Okay, why didn't I understand my worth and my value as a result? Because nobody taught me that I was worthy or that I was valuable. Many of the adults in my life were showing me the opposite of that situation, so I didn't know how to act otherwise. Okay, so you didn't know how to act otherwise. Why is that a problem? Because as an adult, I've carried that into my life. I've carried that into my relationships, and I've made some very poor decisions as a result. Okay, so why do you think making poor decisions is a problem? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, what it has done is put me in a position where I've had to compromise some things I really believe in and not be true to myself, which I think in turn has put me in a place where I've taught people to continue to treat me that way, which is really painful and hurtful because I know that I deserve more. So it really becomes a cyclical issue, if you will. So after you've done that process and you've gone down, what are you doing? You've gone down at least 5 levels and you've gotten to the core of the problem, which for me in this situation with my mother, it's that I just didn't feel like I got the type of love and the training from her that I needed to be a better person. And as a result, I felt like that was very selfish. And so it was something that I couldn't really forgive her for because she was never sorry for her behavior or the things that she allowed other people to do in her presence. So after realizing that this is the issue, the third thing you need to do is really ask yourself the question, is that true? So now that I know all these things, I've gotten down to the core piece of the puzzle. Is it true? So many people in my house trying to get attention. We're about to watch Power. Just getting hip to this. Okay, let me stay on my path here. Now I'm all distracted. Black folks in the background, I swear. So like I said, you ask the 5 whys, and then you find out whether or not the concept that I have is true. So now that I can say, all right, so my worth, my value was compromised. I felt like people didn't really love me, so I didn't know all the ins and outs of how to love myself. And therefore, I taught people that there were parts of me that were unlovable. Is that actually true, though? Are there parts of me that are unlovable? And I would have to say the answer is no. The true Achille in my most pure form is just a manifestation of godly energy. And that's the same with all of us. All of us are individual, amazing manifestations of the Creator, the Most High. So how can there be anything wrong with that or anything unlovable about that? Now, we definitely can act in some ways that is unlovable when we have fear. When we have fear, we have misperceptions. That fear can turn into anger or jealousy or depression or sadness or whatever it is. All of those negative feelings are just derivatives of fear. So when we're fearful, we can do some things that are not loving or the opposite of loving. But if I look at the fact that I'm doing things that are the opposite of loving, I'm really not being the true Akili. That is really a false self, if you will. So if I ask that question, is that really true? Am I unlovable? Am I less valuable? Am I not worthy? Am I not beautiful? Am I less than amazing? The answer is no. When I'm being full-blown, loving, accepting, joyful, peaceful, excited, Akili, then there's nothing about that that is less than lovable. And that's the same thing you need to realize about yourself, as well as the person that you may be having difficulty forgiving. So that is my... You got popcorn crumbs in a bit? Oh, let me try to get you off the camera. I feel like I see your back in the camera. Get out of here. Shh. Hey, I'm trying to finish up this.
I can't even get it. Yeah, you're right.
Always. There's a need for words of affirmation. So
Get that thing out of here.
you just said you wanted to hear me say, yeah, you're right. So I thought that meant you wanted to be back on the camera. He's right. That's big sexy, y'all. Okay. So anywho, those are the that is my point for today. Really ask yourself if that is true of you once you get to those 5 whys, once you get down to that core. And I truly believe that if you think about this and reflect on this, you'll realize that it's impossible for you not to be all that God created you to be when you're acting in your full glory, or you're walking in your purpose and you're living to be a teacher for those around you. So have a good night. Let me get on this power. Holla back. See you tomorrow. Peace out.